Hi, everyone. It's meteorologist Joe Chaffee. S&S Storm Chasers are going to be on patrol today and really busy on Sunday as we take a look at what the Storm Prediction Center is doing. First off, for today, just showing a slight risk of severe weather across much of the eastern portions of the Ohio Valley and extending across West Virginia into Virginia and the southwestern third of Pennsylvania, and that marginal risk area that goes further east from there and takes it down into the Carolinas and back westward across northernmost Alabama, western Tennessee, and then just kind of swings it around up toward northern Ohio near Lake Erie and northern Pennsylvania. This is with the approach of what is going to be a rather strong cold front that will be swinging eastward and will make for a more how shall we say, busy day for tomorrow because the Storm Prediction Center has showing an area of enhanced risk. Now, this area has been adjusted slightly, extended a little further north into southern New Jersey, just maybe about a third of the state into enhanced risk. Then it covers a portion of southeastern Pennsylvania, and then it goes south from there, the eastern half of Maryland, the eastern half of Virginia, into the northeastern North Carolina, includes also all of Delaware and the coastal areas for Sunday. And we do have a very rather impressive setup that I just want to show you with regards to what's going on aloft. This is the 850 millibar level, or roughly about 5,000 feet or so in the atmosphere. And what we look for is any sign of some very strong winds. And this is for tomorrow evening. And you'll notice that there are pockets of strong winds that run from eastern Pennsylvania, western New Jersey in the greens, and then you have the yellow and the little red area there. That's indicative of winds of probably about 60 knots or better. But notice down in southern Maryland, as touching over parts of the Delmarva Peninsula and extending back into Virginia from Richmond on south to about Danville, you can see this large area of winds running at about 50 or 60 knots, and even there's a little dot of purple there, which would be about 64 knots. So this is a very, very strong jet that's being indicated here. And as it moves out to the east, you can see that it just gets really enhanced as it goes out into the ocean. Now, for the northern areas of the risk area, you'll notice the winds are lighter. So this would argue that the thunderstorm activity would probably be a little less intense. And I'm going to switch over to the precipitation view. And you can see how this is what I'm looking at here is the NAM model. This is the 4-kilometer NAM. And the 4 kilometer refers to actually how tight the grid is in this model. And so there's a lot more data that goes into the 4-kilometer NAM than the standard NAM model that we look at. And it's very useful with thunderstorms because we're looking at things on a smaller scale. So I'll just back it up. And you can see that these are the cells, by the way, that the model produces for today. There's no real solid line, just a lot of scattered cells in that slight risk area. But this is for tomorrow. Now, there's a lead area of rain that comes through tonight into tomorrow morning, and then you get a bit of a break. And here's that line. Now, this is at 8 p.m. tomorrow night, and you can see it's a broken line of heavy thunderstorms that runs from south central New York State right through western New Jersey, and then it really gets concentrated just east of the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area over the Delmarva Peninsula and down into southeastern Virginia. And then the line kind of starts to weaken a bit. The northern part of the line is one where I'm going to have a little bit of question with, because a lot up here for Long Island and parts of southern New England, and even for the Hudson Valley, a lot is going to depend on how much of a marine layer gets involved. This time of year, a lot of times whenever there's a southwest wind coming in off the 60-degree ocean, it cools the bottom of the atmosphere so much that when these storms just go east of New York City, they fall apart. Well, That's the big question. Once the water temperatures get above, say, 65, 68, then usually the thunderstorms tend to survive, but they're still down in the low 60s. So how much of that severe weather survives east of New York is going to be interesting to see, and east of New York City. In the meantime, we know for the inland areas across western New Jersey, it could get pretty rough. And of course, down through here in Maryland and eastern Virginia, it could get pretty rough for tomorrow evening. There's been a number of references in the Storm Prediction Center's discussion about supercells. I mean, this would also, of course, indicate that there is the risk of some tornado development and all of this. So we're going to, of course, keep on top of it all. The other thing I want to look at is the prospect of another tropical storm developing this time in the Gulf of Mexico. And here we are, not even through the first 7 days of June, and we'll probably have our third named storm before we get to Tuesday of next week. But I'm just showing you here on the GFS model. There's that what it does with the system as it brings it out of the northwestern Caribbean and into the Gulf of Mexico. Now, this kind of look here, where it shows all the precipitation on the eastern side, would be indicative of something that might not be completely tropical, maybe subtropical, and also it could be a reflection of the wind shear environment. And I'll show you that with regards to this potential tropical system. The National Hurricane Center has now raised the probability of it becoming a tropical storm to 80%. So that's pretty formidable. But if you look here, this is way up in the atmosphere, up at 250 millibars. I'm just looking at the shear environment. And when I say shear winds increasing with strong winds at the high levels of the atmosphere, and this low is developing in a light wind shear environment, which causes it to intensify, but it also has a small upper high sitting over it, but it's very, very tight. There's strong wind shear to the west side of it, and very strong wind shear, in fact, and there's a bit stronger shear, but less than it is on the west side. On the east side, the shear is less, so it tends to tilt the system to the east, and you'll get more of the rain north and east of the actual low center than you would around the circulation or south and west of it. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of characteristics, what kind of signature this takes when it goes into the Gulf. And then it moves over, it looks like just northwest of Tampa, and then off the coast near Jacksonville, and then northeast and out to sea from there. It would mean probably some heavy rains and potential flooding for central and northern Florida, and for probably parts of the southeast coast of the United States. So this is going to be a very interesting weekend and an interesting part of early next week. So just keep in the back of your mind the threat for severe weather on Sunday. It'll probably come from most areas from late afternoon when we're talking about eastern Pennsylvania and point straight south from there into the western part of the area, and probably after 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening as you go east. The earlier part of the day will be tamer. That area of rain that comes through late tonight and tomorrow morning, and then there should be a break for a little while. So enjoy your weekend, and we'll keep you up to date on all the goings on as we move through the rest of today and into Sunday.